Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, we project what's inside of us. So I've got two emails that I'm going to go through with you today. The first one is a short update from the guy whose email that I answered, who had the success story, who was able to make out with this girl that he'd been stuck in friend zone with for like 2 years, that I answered in my previous video newsletter called Friend Zoned. So if you happen to be watching this and you're wondering where is that, you can just Google Corey Wayne Friend Zoned and that original video will come up. So he's got an update on what, because the original email that he sent in that I covered, and that was sent like 4 months ago. That's kind of how far behind I am in the video newsletters with the emails I've sent in with people, because I've got so many good emails to choose from. So I thought it was a great update and a great way to start today's video. And then I got a second email from a guy who got friend zoned by a girlfriend of his that he was with for about 1.5 years. He found my work, started following it, was able to reattract her, but he wasn't able to maintain it. And there's some major red flags going on with this particular woman that this guy is overlooking. And he's also not really learning the fundamentals. He's not following what I teach. It looks like he's kind of just doing like a drive-by, kind of like going to McDonald's thinking you're going to get a Happy Meal and just fix everything with a little Happy Meal. In other words, he's looking for the quick fix. He's not really learning the material and learning to apply it, and that's why his success is kind of all over the place. So I have a quote that I wrote, and then I'm going to go through the first guy's email. And the quote says, "People tend to project what they are thinking and feeling on the inside onto other people in order to disassociate from it and absolve themselves of any blame or responsibility. This is why we should never take anything that anyone else says or does to us personally, because they are simply projecting what's inside of them. When people call you names or say mean things, they are reflecting what they think and feel about themselves. When people do nasty things to you, they are treating you how they feel about themselves in that moment. Don't take assholes seriously, and don't take their insults personally. Why? It's not about you. It's about them." That's definitely something to think about. So with that said, let's go to the first email. Again, this is an update. This is basically what's transpired in the last 4 months since he sent me that email. And that was the second email I covered in the video newsletter titled Friend Zoned. So he says, "Hey Corey, I just saw that you used my email for the newsletter Friend Zone, which was also happened to be on my birthday. Isn't that an interesting coinky-dink? It's a birthday gift to you, my friend, because you've done some great progress. It took you long enough. It only took you 1 year or so. Better late than never. I just wanted to give you a quick update. After my trip in January, I finally sealed the deal with her in bed, indoor Olympics. Remember in his last video, they were kissing, making out, fooling around. She had invited him into her bedroom. He was sucking on her boobies. That was as far as he got. He got about to third base, but he wasn't able to seal the deal. And so when he went back, which was probably about 1.5 months, 2 months after the events of the last email I covered had transpired, sounds like he was a little better prepared, understood 2 steps forward, 1 step back when you encounter resistance when you're trying to seduce a woman. And he was able, because he was better prepared, to succeed. And just like Confucius said, success depends upon prior preparation. Without said preparation, there's sure to be failure. The bottom line is he succeeded because he did the work, he studied the book, he practiced, he got his opportunity, he let her continue to do 100% of the calling, texting, and pursuing, and boom. We had a good time, and I still tend to make some mistakes, being too available and telling her that I miss her without her saying it first. It's okay every once in a while, but that's really important. Saying I love yous and saying all these gushy things about the other person you're with, whether you're a man or a woman, you got to notice, are they just parroting those back to you, or do they say them without prompting on their own? It's important to notice that. But overall, I am pretty sure I do more things right then wrong. Well, obviously you were able to seduce this. This guy was stuck in friend zone for 2 fucking years. So actually a little over two years it took him to fucking seal the deal. And this was a woman who had said, there's no way in hell I would ever date him romantically, strictly friends. Yet here he is making love to this girl. If you apply things that I teach, you will see that they work for you. It doesn't mean that every single girl you're going to get, but if you apply things I teach and you learn them and you master them, it will give you the best possible chance. It will put you in the most superior position you can be in so you can get what you want and have other people willingly give you what you want. She will pick me up from the airport when I finally return home to Germany in May. I still have many problems within myself and I overthink a lot of stuff, but I try my best to improve. That's all you can really do. Get up every day, take action, inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter. You will move yourself closer and closer to where you ultimately want to be. Just try to get a little better each day. That should be your goal. That should be your mission if you choose to accept it. Again, thank you so much for your help and have a great spring. Well, keep practicing the fundamentals, keep reading the book, keep letting her come to you. And it sounds like you're getting closer and closer into getting what you want. So let's go to the second guy's email. He says, "Hey Coach Corey, my name is Bob. I'm a Marine Corps reservist and a college student." Hoorah! Another glorious day in the Corps. I started dating this wonderful girl about 1.5 years ago, and things went great at first. They usually seem to go well at first, don't they? And then the knowledge gap that all of us tend to have on some form or another, some of it's bigger than others, comes into play. Another thing Confucius said, real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. And that's one of the things I would say this guy has not done a good job of. He's not done a good job of filling in his knowledge gap. She wants to become a Marine officer, and so do I. Our interests lined up pretty well, and we had a strong understanding for each other, for the most part. Unfortunately, we do have a few differences. She has much higher grades than I do, and is planning on leaving this area this summer to most likely go to an East Coast school or the Naval Academy. Well, all you can really do when you're in these kinds of situations where somebody may move away is be her best option. And if you do the things that I teach in my book, you'll be able to keep a woman head over heels in love with you, and she'll want to be with you instead. But if she's not that into you, and if she's not in love with you, and she doesn't feel safe and comfortable, there's a really good chance she'll gravitate and follow her goals and her dreams, and it won't involve you. She also had a huge jealousy problem. Well, that's obviously a big fucking red flag. Because what is jealousy? The other person doesn't feel secure and confident enough and comfortable enough that they deserve to have you. Those people that are jealous tend to act needy, tend to be controlling. They tend to try to force things because they fear that the other person is going to leave them or cheat on them or find somebody better. There's a quote, I think it's St. Augustine said it. It says, "He who is jealous is not in love," or something like that. Because really it's about controlling, because you feel your life is so out of control. And when you have somebody that's got a jealousy problem, that's their weakness. It's not yours. A lot of people encounter this and they think, oh, I'll fix them. If I just love them enough and I reassure them enough, it won't be an issue. Yes, it will be. And I didn't like it and she didn't like it when I spoke to other girls since her last boyfriend cheated on her. So I've talked about this in the past. My ex-wife was a little jealous and a little insecure when we were together, and one of the things that she was doing before we got married, well, actually it was after we were married, there was another couple that we used to hang out with a lot, and she was convinced, this other woman that we hung, because I used to work with this guy, she was convinced that his wife, when they would stay over, because sometimes they would come and stay for the weekend with us, she was convinced that she was hitting on me and trying to steal me away from her. And this was something I had dealt with when I was younger, or when we were younger in our relationship, I should say. And it wasn't really a big deal, and after we were married, it's just from time to time she felt threatened. And I just got to the point where I was fucking sick of it. And I just finally looked at her one day and I said, I'm an honorable guy and I'm going to be faithful. I've never cheated on a girlfriend, and I would never cheat on you. That's just not how I roll. And if you can't accept that, if you question that, if you doubt that, then that is your problem. So I don't want to hear any more about you being upset or you being afraid that I'm going to cheat on you or I'm going to screw around with somebody else, because that's just not how I roll. It's your issue and you need to fucking deal with that. I don't want to hear about it anymore. And she knew I was serious. And I meant what I said. And she never, to her credit, she never ever brought that up again. Never questioned me, never doubted me. I'm sure she probably felt those feelings from time to time. But I had enough. And she knew I was serious and I meant it. She was questioning my integrity as a man. And she'd been cheated on in the past by a couple of her ex-boyfriends. But that wasn't my problem. That was something that happened before I even years before I'd even met her. And so you have the same kind of situation here. I thought she was being ridiculous and would blow her off most of the time. I told her nothing was going on, which was true. I think this is why she ended things last winter. If you're dealing with somebody that's insecure and they're just convinced it's a matter of time before you cheat, you can put your foot down and one of two things is going to happen. She'll either stop the bullshit and cut it out like my ex-wife did, or they'll do the opposite, which is like what this woman did. Okay, well, fuck it. I'm going to leave the relationship because that way it'll be easier for me to leave now, because if I stick around, eventually he's going to cheat on me anyways, just like all the other guys have. And women like this tend to do those things. They tend to run away. I've dated women that are like this as well with the other areas when they create problems. I had a woman she was just nasty to me when she would get upset or she'd be in a mad mood. She was just verbally abusive. And I finally had enough. And I just said, you're abusive to me. I don't talk to you this way. And I expect you to talk to me. If something's bothering you, if you're upset about something, let's talk it out like adults. But I'm tired of the insults. I'm tired of you trying to emasculate me and put me down all the time because you don't feel so good about yourself or your life or what happens to be going on. I love you. I support you. I'll be behind you 100%. But you got to stop treating me this way and talking to me this way. You got to communicate like an adult. This just does not work for me. And she couldn't do it. And she wouldn't do it. And her way to solve problems was to give me the silent treatment and say, well, I just need to calm down for a few days and then I'll get back to you when I calm down. At that point in my life, I was over those kinds of relationships. I wasn't going to date somebody that was like that. I wasn't going to deal with her fucking immaturity, and I let her know what I wanted and what I expected in a very loving way. And unfortunately, she couldn't live up to that because she just had too much insecurity and too many things that she needed to deal with. Maybe someday she'll grow up, but that's really not my fucking problem anymore. I am not interested in fixing somebody. I want an equal. I want a teammate. And for many years now, over the last 15 years, I just don't tolerate that kind of bullshit. If you can't communicate in a loving, kind, adult manner without raising your voice. I mean, I grew up in a family where my mother was constantly yelling at my dad, complaining, bitching at him, emasculating him. He would just sit there sucking his beer down, watching TV, tuning her out, just going, ooh, not really paying attention to her, which obviously made her even more pissed off. It's like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to be around people that are like that. And I don't have people like that in my life anymore. And so from time to time, I do encounter people like that. And you got to put your foot down. You've got to have a minimum level of standard. You say, this is a bare minimum. No drama. Drama-free zone. Communicate like an adult. I will do anything for somebody. as long as they ask me nicely and be kind and sweet and communicate like an adult. But people that give me the silent treatment, or they get pissed off or start yelling and screaming at me or raise their voice or say nasty things, I don't have fucking time for that bullshit. I'm 46 fucking years old, been around the block a few times. I'm just not going to put up with that. And it's a great standard to adopt in your own life, to say, I'm not going to do it. She broke up with me, and despite being hurt and pretty much hopeless, I kept begging her to take me back. So that's the exact opposite of what you should be doing. And obviously, I'm sure you know that by now. But the point being is, she's totally mistreated you, and she broke up with you because she's the jealous person. She's the insecure person. And not you run after her, and you grovel to her, and you beg her to take you back. And you're, in essence, saying, please mistreat me. Please abuse me some more. No one will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. And you're, in essence, at this particular juncture here, in your email, you're begging her to continue her abuse. This is her issue, her insecurity, her jealousy. That's her fucking problem. It's not your problem. It's her problem. When men behave this way, it turns women off, and they get dumped. Obviously, women behave this way, and most guys will put up with this shit like this guy did. Whereas he really should have been saying, you know, it's not cool. I don't appreciate the fact that you choose to break up and run away instead of communicating like an adult. That just doesn't work for me. I'm not interested in being your friend. It's just not going to happen. Either we have a mature adult sexual romantic relationship, or we go our separate ways, and I wish you all the best. I enjoy all the memories. I will treasure them for my life, the rest of my life, but you're not going to treat me this way ever again. That's just the way it's going to be. My life's a drama-free zone, and you're bringing drama into my life. Things were going good, and now you've fucked it up because you're insecure, and because you feel insecure, your solution is to break up with me because you feel insecure and weak. So if that's the way it's going to be, then just go on down the road. Wish you all the best. If you're going to try to come back in the future, maybe you should go see a therapist or a counselor and deal with those insecurities, because I'm done with it. I'm not interested in putting up with it anymore. And if you can't be with me without being jealous and insecure and accusing me of sleeping with everybody else, every other woman that I come in contact with, well, I have no interest in having you in my life, and that's just the way it's going to be. Sometimes you have to say that shit to people. Sometimes you have to let them know where the fucking line in the sand is. It's not about being a dick. It's about loving yourself and communicating, hey, this is what I need in order to feel loved and supported in this relationship. And if you can't do that, that's fine. I'll just find somebody eventually who can. As you might have expected, it yielded no positive results. It was then, yeah, I mean, all she was going to do is lose even more respect for you as a man when you grovel after she's abused you. It was then that I decided to do a little research, and I came across a few of your videos. I decided to instill the no contact method, and within a week, she couldn't stop texting me, asking whom I was hanging out with, and showing that she really missed me. Isn't that interesting? Strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. When someone friend zones you, dumps you, or blows you off, you don't chase after them. You let them go, and you say, this is what I want, this is the way I expect to be treated, and if you can't do that, well, give me a call if you change your mind. My dad gave me the advice to keep acting like I was fine without her for a little while longer, but at the end of the week, I drove to her house, made out with her, had sex, and we got back together that night. So one of the mistakes that you've already made at this point, you probably watched a video, 7 Principles to Get an Ex Back or something like that, because you're looking for a fucking quick fix, and you didn't follow the instructions of reading the book 10 to 15 times. You're talking to your dad, you watch a few videos, it's like you're driving by McDonald's, grabbing the Happy Meal, hoping everything's going to be all right as rain, but you're not putting in the time necessary to fill in your knowledge gap. So therefore, eventually, that's going to come back to bite you in the ass. How do I know? Well, let's continue on. This last winter, for a while, things went well, but around Thanksgiving time this year, she changed her mind again. Dude, you're a fucking Marine. Where the hell is the attention to detail here? I mean, seriously, dude. What would your fucking drill sergeant think? You had the answer in your hands, and you were too lazy to put in the time. And part of that's, I guarantee you, that's part of the reason why you're struggling and your grades aren't as good in school as they could be, because you're not putting the fucking time in, and you're not putting in the attention to detail. Because really, college is about not so much learning as it is learning how to pass a test. It's about memorization and regurgitation for the most part. When it comes to math, you gotta practice the problems in there. That's how you pass the test. It's just the way it is, dude. She broke up with me for the second time and said, I still love you, but I'm not in love with you. Therefore, you were acting like a big floppy cock at that point. That was part of the problem. So more than likely, after you thought everything was great, you kind of went back to some of your old beta male ways. Even though you are an alpha male, you're exhibiting more beta male qualities, which obviously have turned her off. And she said, I still want to be friends. Oh, gee, that sounds swell. Great idea, yeah. She felt that we were going on different roads and that she'd be leaving in a couple of months anyway. Not feeling like I had much of a choice, I agreed to be a friend. This is what happens when you don't read the fucking book, dude. I warn people all the time, and here's another guy who's like, I'm just going to do a drive-by, pick up a few nuggets of knowledge here and there, just get the quick fix because I'm so busy. But how much time have you sat around suffering over this girl? Oh, how many months have you suffered and have you missed her? And how much time has your suffering interfered with studying and the other things that you should be doing in your life? So really, that time you should have spent reading the book 10 to 15 times really isn't that much time at all. It's like, I remember when years ago, I got a speeding ticket. This is like 15, 20 years ago. I went to this, class where they make you take a driver's class so you don't get any points on your license. And I remember in class they were saying, it was like, well, yeah, you're in such a rush to get somewhere and you speed, and then what happens, the person you pass, you see him at the next light. Or worse, you get stopped by a cop and you get a speeding ticket. So you're really not saving any time because it takes 20 minutes or so for the cop to pull you over, give you the ticket before you're on your way. So you're really not saving any time. So in other words, not reading the book, doing a drive-by, cherry-picking information, didn't really save you much time, did it, dude? Which I now know may have been a huge mistake. Well, it was absolutely a huge mistake to agree to be her friend. Because the bottom line is, you don't get what you deserve in life, you only get what you negotiate. You didn't want friendship, you wanted sex and romance, and she stuck you back in friend zone again because that was emotionally more palatable for her. And you should have said, I'm not interested in being your friend. That just doesn't work for me. But you give me a call if you change your mind, and I'm done with this disrespectful bullshit. Your solution every time there's a problem or you feel insecure is to just break up with me and try to put me in friend zone. I'm done with that. That's not going to work. Either talk to me like an adult or go on your merry little way and have a nice life. For the first 2 weeks of the breakup, we kept talking, hooking up, and sleeping over. She would sometimes cry and say that she loved me, but all of a sudden, she decided she needed a break. This is the problem. The real problem here is you're vacillating back and forth between being a man and being a woman. When you act like a man, she wants to hook up and sleep with you. When you act like a woman, she becomes confused and she needs a break. Women don't need a break from men they're in love with. They need a break from men who are acting like big floppy cocks. We started doing no contact, and I didn't hear from her for another 2 weeks. 2 nights ago, she texted me, I hate you. I played it cool and asked why. I would have said, hey, thanks for the compliment. Well, why do you say you hate me? You hate me or you just really miss me and you want me deep inside you? What is it? Tease her, be playful. Are you saying you miss me? You hate me so much that you can't live without me? She basically said that she was angry with me for making her self-conscious and not good enough when we first started dating. More projection. She's projecting more of her own insecurities, flaws, and faults onto you, in order to get you to say, yep, it's all my fault, I'm sorry, which is what most guys tend to do. And therefore, you're enabling her behavior. You just told her this is acceptable. It's acceptable for her to continue to project her insecurity and her weaknesses. She was very jealous. I took the blame and apologized. Well, that's where you should have said, you know what? I understand where you're coming from, but it's not my fault that you're jealous and you're insecure. And as far as feeling self-conscious, I don't have any choice over the way you choose to feel. The only thing I have control over is how I show up. And if you choose to assign disempowering meanings to things that happen in our relationship or that happen between us, well, that's your choice. But you know what? We should get together and talk about this over dinner. When you've been dumped like this, just like I teach in 7 Principles Get an X back, she needs to earn another chance with you, not the other way around. And what's happened here is you've gone right back into beta male groveling mode and started apologizing. Why? Because you didn't read the fucking book 10 to 15 times. You were not prepared. Like Confucius said, success depends upon prior preparation. And without said preparation, there is sure to be failure. So you're failing once again with this girl, is because it's as predictable as the sun coming up in the morning. You didn't fucking prepare. You didn't follow the instructions. Therefore, life tends to repeat itself. What do they say about history? Those that don't study it are destined to repeat it. You didn't fill in your knowledge gap, dude, and you're still making the same mistakes. Seeing that I wasn't going to argue with her, she calmed down a bit. I texted her and let her know that I was at the Safeway close to her house getting some groceries and that we could meet up and talk for a bit if she wanted to. Your job as a man is to create an opportunity for sex to happen. Hang out, have fun, hook up. And you basically said to her, hey, I'm happy to be your emotional tampon. Come meet me. You should have had her come meet you and make dinner at your place together. She responded that she had a stressful day and was going to sleep. See, what happened was she projected her garbage onto you. You said, sure, it's all my fault. I'll take all of it. And she's like, great, thanks. I don't feel so bad about myself. See you later. I'm going to sleep in my own bed by myself without you, motherfucker. I said, okay, yeah, I get you. Let me know if you change your mind tomorrow or whatever, okay? I'm here. She said, okay. Then I said, good night and sleep well with your kitty cat by your side, which was a cat that I bought her. Notice her one-word response, okay, and then he sends another long sentence. You got to pay attention to those things. How much is she investing in this right now? She's investing one word, and you're sending several dozen words back. Pay attention to that when you're texting with somebody. How much is the other person investing in it? That tells you how much they really care at that moment. She responded with, yeah, LOL, good night. It's been 2 days since she texted and I haven't heard from her. Did I do the right thing? No. Or should I have just responded to her angry message? Well, I already mentioned what I would have done differently, but what's done is done. You can't do anything about it now. I feel like she was trying to reach out. Anyway, I love her very much and I'm willing to try to get her back before giving up. And that's the problem. You're all focused on getting her back and getting another chance. Whereas she needs to be earning another chance with you. So just like I teach in 7 Principles Get an X back, this woman must do 100% of the calling, texting, and pursuing from now on. So the next time you hear from her, assume she wants to see you, make a date at your place, hang out, have fun, and hook up. And the next time she brings up this jealousy bullshit or tries to blame you for her insecurities, you need to stand up to her and say the things that I've shared with you in this video that I've used in my own relationships in the past when I've had women that behave this way. Because right now, you're basically being her little bitch. You're being her pincushion. You're like her little voodoo doll that she just stabs with all the little pins. And you're like, sure, I'll take it all. I'll take all your pain. You got to stand up for yourself, dude, and act like a true equal. You need to let her come to you and make dates when you hear from her. So if you'd like to get my help personally, go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and follow the instructions for booking whichever coaching option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.